Fellas, thank you for joining today. I had said this was the greatest session I have ever commentated, and I've been commentating IPF World since 2016. When I look back at the previous battles, I always look to John Hack versus Brett Gibbs for the creating so many firsts. And it was the first mega showdown that the IPF Worlds had that the entire community watched. And so many after it, the rippling effect. And until now, that stood as the greatest showdown I'd ever commentated. But that has now been nudged past. What I witnessed yesterday with you three gentlemen, each one of you have either won a world title, broken the world record, or unofficially broken the world record. Each one of you, at one point in time, your supporters could look to you and say, he's the number 166 in the world. And for you guys to clash and put on the performance you did with all of the drama, missed lifts, rallying back, and all you equaling exactly 707.5, and having that podium with that type of magnitude, I am glad we're here today to have the first in terms of the rippling effect with a live podcast at IPF Worlds. We've never done this before. So thank you first off for joining us. I know it's none of us have gotten a lot of sleep. it's difficult, but I appreciate. So first off, I think I'll throw it to you, Jonathan. Coming into this World Championships, what was the expectation you had for yourself as well as for the other lifters in the 66 kilo class?
For myself, obviously, the expectation was to win. I wanted to hit a certain total. Me and my team did some pre-planning. We were very flexible on what our overall goal was. Came to me and said, do you want to break the world record on the squat, or do we want to just focus on making 3 squats and just keep the lead? Because we knew right off the bat we were going to be a good chunk of lead on the squat, then keep the lead on the bench, and then deadlift what we have to just to secure the W, to have these guys kind of just chasing me the whole meet, and that's what we went for. So we chose a safer route that we thought was going to secure the W. Obviously, we all 3 ended up lifting the same exact amount, but that was the expectation for me. I had a lot of personal reasons I wanted to do well for this competition. I told myself and my family this would be my last World Championship that I was going to partake in. This is a lot on a guy with 2 kids and a full-time job in his now late 30s. So I told myself this is going to be my last one. So I had a lot of personal reasons why I wanted to win this one. Besides, the accolation of the title and all that kind of stuff.
We'll dive deeper into that in a couple of moments, and we'll also follow up with the possibility of retirement. Because this is a tough one to leave on. But we'll put a pin in that for a second. Penna, what was your expectations both of yourself and the other 66s coming into this World Championship?
I think I've said it multiple times, but I would like to have a clear. Once I leave the sport, nobody will be able to deny that I was the best 66. That's the overall picture I have in my head. So whenever it's about time to compete for me, whether I'm defending world champ or I'm the underdog, I'm like, I have to do a good meet. I have to be number 1. So I had this in mind. Unfortunately, 3 weeks out, I injured my back, and I thought about pulling out from this meet because of that. Training-wise, it was very tough. Some days I could lift, some days I just couldn't lift anything. Tuesday, I missed my opener that I hit yesterday. I missed it Tuesday, not able to lift it. So I was thinking, if I pull up now, I still lose the title. You know what I mean? It's not, I didn't get beat. No, I get beat. You have to show up because we all have our own circumstances. Jonathan has his reasons to win and his prep, and same with Kasemsand, that he had his circumstances, his reasons to win. And so at the end of the day, as a man, as an athlete, as a warrior, I think you have to show up. And that's why I decided to take on that challenge. And I'll be honest with you, man, I didn't know. I didn't know if my strength that I would be able to recuperate would be enough. But whenever people were seeing me, oh, how do you feel? And the reason and the answer I gave to everybody was the same: I'm ready for a fight. And looking back, I'm glad that yesterday we all fought our heart out. We didn't leave anything for granted. We pushed ourselves to the absolute limit. Honestly, I would have liked to come up on top of that absolute war, but I'm glad and I'm honored to have partaken in that war with these gentlemen yesterday.
Very well said.
Yeah, I could not imagine if you weren't there. You guys needed the trio of you to push each other to that limit. I seen the video, and yeah, you failed that. That must have been pretty rattling, but thank God it all worked out. And Kasemsand, leading into this competition, Jonathan had all of America and huge chunks of the world behind him due to his performance at Powerlifting America Nationals. Obviously, Penna, massive star in France, all of Europe, and the world over. And yourself, less hype, less heralded, but people who knew you held the world record, knew what you brought to the table. Coming to this competition, what was your expectations, and did you feel at all slighted with the attention that they got? Did you feel overlooked, or were you comfortable with them taking the burden of all the pressure and you perform and let everybody know on the platform?
Yeah, actually, I don't think about anything else because when it comes to worlds, everything is hard for me because my first worlds, I got 2 vaccination, or 2 shots of vaccine, and my body, I couldn't train at least 50% of my max. I couldn't lift it for 8 months. And yeah, so actually in 2021, actually 22, I thought that might be my last competition.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because the more you train, you can feel it getting weaker, and yeah, and I don't know that I can still competing ever again. Yeah, but after that comp, it started getting better. That's why I can hit the world record number. Yeah, but yeah, I never win world championships, and I was looking for wins many times. Yeah.
You broke the world record, and there was high hopes for you, high expectations, and then, like you said, got sick, and it had been all the way to 2024. 2 years you had waited in the wings for your moment, and here it is, arrived. And coming into the competition, I noticed in your competition prep, you started hitting those big numbers again. Leading into this, did you feel yourself again? Did you know, I think I'm back?
Yes, but I'm still scared of failure because every time it's come to the world, I always fail. It's traumatizing. When I squat, my legs shaking all the time because I only get first attempt all the time, and I get the second attempt and third attempt. Yeah, so.
If you got to fear failure and the pressure, this 66 kilo class was a tough one to compete in because everybody was watching.
Right.
Everybody was anticipating the battle. Everybody had their motivations. Penna, you had hinted at that. Jonathan, well, what were some of your motivations, Jonathan, coming into this competition?
My motivations were just to, put on the best performance I could put on. I mean, we had U.S. National 12 weeks ago, so it was a very quick turnaround time, and that ended up being the best performance of my career. I'd hit 715.5, well over the current world record for our weight class, and bumped up my squat world record a little bit. So that was a hard fought battle, and then 12 weeks later, hop on a flight, fly halfway around the world, and then kind of get into that same battle, because we all want to win it. That's why we're here for. We all have our own personal reasons in representing our country on the, obviously the biggest stage our sport has to provide. So, my expectations from what I needed to do to win, to secure the W, and obviously my motivations were, personal reasons. It was my son's birthday, and I needed to uphold worlds and ended up on a good note and kind of ride off into the sunset. But there's still a little bit of work left to do. But I mean, it was a hard fought battle. These guys gave it all. We all did. I wouldn't take it back for anything. It was just an epic for us to all end up on on the podium with the exact same numbers put up. Is pretty wild to me.
And it wasn't only your son's first birthday. When you told me you looked at the calendar and thought, oh my God, you had made a promise to your son who was born prematurely that you were going to win this title and that'd be that.
Mm-hmm.
You looked at the IPF calendar and said, oh my God, the World Championship is on his first birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, it was on Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't have written that any better. And for anything that might have gone wrong or whatever, however the day unfolds, a lot of things are outside of your reach or outside of your control. But that certainly must have been motivation to carry you for all you gentlemen to hit your 707.5. All three of you gentlemen have a different background story on the way to there, even though you all landed on the same total. And that was your motivation to land on that 707.5 on that day.
So we win conservative, and just, that second, just a little hiccups here throughout the meet that we just had to pick up the fumble and just go ahead and just move the plan forward, move the pieces forward anyway. So like on my jump, the squat command in these meets, the crowd's not super far away. The judges are really close, a lot of noise. I heard him say squat, but it was just a half second too fast. So, obviously squat was easy. So looking back at my team, they're looking at me like, what happened? So we decided, let's go ahead and just move the pieces forward. And same thing like with my first deadlift, totally kind of just, I think the weight went up too fast and it kind of threw me off balance. And I said, hey, look, we're not here to retake lifts. It wasn't a strength issue or a technique issue. Let's just go ahead and move forward. And, I know that's a little risky on this kind of stage because typically a rule of thumb is if you miss a lift, you do it again. That's kind of what we live and die by. But, when you're in this kind of heat and you got great athletes right on your heels, you have to man up and you have to, take the hill at all costs. So that's what we did. So
I like that. You got to take the hill. You storm the hill and take what ground you can. Penna, I had said that for particular reasons, this landing on Father's Day meant a lot as a motivation to Jonathan and his pathway to his 707.5. But on the opposite end of things, Father's Day meant a lot to you on your path to 707.5 as well.
Yeah, so one thing I was discussing with my wife was prior to the meet, I wasn't sure I would be the strongest physically compared to them, but I told her I think I have the best reasons to win. And then that's where she told me, I actually listened to the podcast that you guys did, and she goes, yeah, Jonathan has also his reasons to win with regards to father figure. The podcast, so she explained it to me, but two different flips because Jonathan wanted to win for his son and I wanted to win for my dad as a son. But yeah, when you chase greatness, when you chase the realization of maybe a lifetime, who knows? Unfortunately, most often than not, you're going to get your hopes crushed. And I knew coming in, one of us would get his hopes crushed. It ended up being both of us, not just one of us. But at the end of the day, I think sometimes it's more than lifting weights. Sometimes it's about, that's something I usually say, is expressing ourselves. Like I expressed myself on the platform yesterday through powerlifting, same as Jonathan, same as Kasemsan, who had his own also reasons to win. But yeah, that was special for me because I don't know how much more worlds my dad will be able to watch me participate in, and not just talking like him physically being here, just be here to watch me. So yeah, in my head I wanted to show him something. I'm like, if that's the last world my dad ever gets to see me lift, then I want him to, have a high praise of his son. That's what I had in mind. Obviously, the result is not the result I wanted, I expected. But I think he was proud of me yesterday for fighting up until the very end. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Life has tough challenges. We all face those, whether it's in our personal lives or like sports-wise. And yeah, you always have to be ready to, like we said yesterday, when the bell rings, you have to. So I just wanted to answer that bell yesterday. That's what I did. Didn't get my hand raised, but like we say, we live to fight another day.
You can't guarantee an outcome,
Yeah.
but you can guarantee your effort. And
Yeah.
I don't think anybody can question either of your efforts. I mean, it was a titanic display by both of you gentlemen, including yourself. We'll get to you in the savations, but anybody you were looking to show pride for and appreciation of their support, believe me, they're proud of both your efforts, and you didn't let anybody down. This was historic. And nobody who's seen what happened that day is ever going to forget it. It was special. Kasemsand, how about yourself coming into this? What were some of your motivation record and falling back for the last 2 years? And here is your opportunity to seize what was so close 2 years ago.
Actually, this competition that is mean a lot for me, because we got going on in Thailand as well, like in terms of the politics, and yeah, I need to show them that Thai people can do this. Yeah, because I try to fight for my people, for Thai people who love this sport. So I don't want someone to take it away. Yeah, that's why I had to win this.
I'm sure the Thai people were proud. You fought valiantly. Jonathan, you were talking about the squat event, and for a big chunk of the conversation, obviously a huge chunk of your total is going to be built upon the squat. And how did you feel after the third squat? Were you wanted to be? Did it feel like you were on pace? Was it celebratory?
I felt like my body didn't really wake up to squats until my third squat. My third squat felt like how my opener should have felt. I walked off, in full transparency, a little bit of a tinge of kind of like regret with that being my third squat, because, I mean, for my past, I want to say 4, maybe 5 meets, every third squat I've done has been a world record or, you know, just slightly beneath it, you know what I'm saying? So, or at least it's been a world record attempt, you know, even back in, you know, USAPL days. So again, we played the more conservative card, looking to gain just chips on the board. So yeah, I felt a little disappointed in my third squat, because it just, like my body just started to wake up and feel like, okay, that squat felt really well. We probably could have done 280, you know, and then, you know, but again, we played a different kind of strategy on this competition, and we were playing it based on what these two guys were doing. So we were kind of, again, playing chess and kind of going back and forth there. But no, I mean, it felt great. Again, like I said, I was like, man, I had so much left. I definitely left a lot of kilos on the platform, on the squat, but different strategy for a different kind of situation. You know, travel's a big factor. Injuries, you know, we all work really hard. I mean, probably 5 injuries we could list off right off the bat this year that we just have to overcome. You know, it's a constant thing at this elite level. You know, we all go through it. So it was a little disappointed on how many kilos I left on the squat, but I felt that we were in a good position because I knew my bench was just there in training. I didn't show a lot of training leading into the competition, but my bench was on fire. So I knew, you know, if we had to do the 180, 185 on the bench, you know, we could if we felt like we needed to. So it was a bit of a different meet for me versus it being mainly just squat. We knew that, okay, if we don't need to squat that much, we can bench a little extra, and it would all kind of meet in the middle and add up in the end in our favor. That was our strategy.
And what was the vibe like in that warm-up room? And it wasn't just you gentlemen in there. I mean, Joe Jordan, Kyoto, also contenders, not here today, but also contenders in amongst the pack. And that is a very small warm-up room for all of you alpha males to be in there, all vying for the same position. What was the vibe like? Your honest takes. I mean, we're not there anymore. We're all friends now, but what was the vibe like?
I liked it, man. Like I like when people look at me the wrong way, and I look at them back the wrong way, and I felt it was kind of the play we all played yesterday. Like I know it was the case with Jonathan, because like they were jovial after his squat, and I was like, oh, that's so for you it's done, right? And I was like, oh, I'm going to show you guys. So that's how I felt. I want to end his life. He doesn't want to end mine. That's fine. But we can shake hands before, after, and then on midday we're like, enemies. Yeah, you cannot cheer for your enemy. You know what I mean? It's like you want them to do good, but you want to do better. So yeah, it was, it's those things where you have to be there to feel the atmosphere, feel the environment. And when I saw that I was getting the pull to outpull Jonathan, I was crazy. I was yelling crazy stuff, man. I was all over.
Yeah, he was back there. I didn't know what the hell he was saying.
Thank God it was French.
He was hyping himself up. He was hyping himself up. No, it was funny because he has a big following. So on, a lot of the posts, people, commenting in favor of Penna. So whenever, obviously he put the, me and Penna, like with the percentage, and everybody's kind of eyes are on us, and, a little bit of promotion doing this stuff. So like we actually ended up like side by side. Warm-up room, I'm kind of focused on my own zone. I try not to, this guy's pulling more, this guy's squatting more. I don't want to watch and see how like his 160 is moving on the warm-up, so I really try to stay like laser focused, and I'm kind of like in my head. So I have music on, I'm kind of just in the zone, but it just the atmospheric, like why championship here, you've got Kasemsand over here, you've got Kyoto over here, you've got Joe Jordan. I mean, these are all guys that could be sitting at any one of these spots if we fucked up. You know what I'm saying? If we fumbled and you missed 2 squats or you miss a bench, there could be someone else in your seat just like mine. So, this 66 class, I mean, when I started it wasn't that big, but now it's crazy, guys. I mean, like regardless of like the same amount, just the talent there. The talent that if you had missed, Penna could have won, or if, whatever situation I could have won. I mean, we were there. You got 3 guys trying to run on top of a mountain and see who gets there first. It's just insane. So our weight class is, I think it's gonna blow up a little bit more after this. I mean, our viewership, I don't know if you guys saw like the live stream after.
Nuts.
The viewership was crazy compared to any other weight class that I saw, even compared to last year's Worlds. The viewership, how many people were watching live, was crazy. So the atmosphere, the warm-up room was super cool. I'm a kind of different guy. I got like a Mike Tyson mindset. I'm just like zoned in. You don't exist to me. But no harm, no foul. Like you said, we're not fighters. You know what I'm saying? I could shake your hand and we could be friends. But just on game day, we all have the same goal. And it's no hate or love for each other. It's just, we all here. We all have a reason to be here. And we're just kind of locked in on our certain zones. Some guys can just walk around and like, la-da-da. But me, I'm like, I need to focus on this. This is game day. And, we put hours and hours into the gym. That everybody sees the Instagram highlights of our big lifts, but they don't understand the time it took to get to that big lift. That Penna came in at 1 o'clock to the gym and he didn't leave till 5. They don't understand that kind of stuff. After a full day of work, I get off at 6. I'm lifting till 10. They don't see that. They just see that 10-second clip. So when we're here for game day, that's what it's all about. So
I can tell you right now, I've walked into many a warm-up room at a World Championships, and you see all the different personalities. Penna, he will talk, but he also feeds off of other people. Kasemsand was all smiles, both on the platform, in the warm-up room. I'm going to get your take on it as well, Kasemsand, because with these, different personalities in there, but I can attest, when I'm in there, Jonathan is normally all smiles, joking around. I mean, we've had our nights, where we've gone out, hung out, and it is a whole nother vibe. But when I walked into that warm-up room, I saw Jonathan in the corner, and you look to make eye contact. And Jonathan shifted the eye contact, and I realized he's not looking for a friendly smile, a hello, a how you doing. It's business time right now. Yeah. And I respect that. And that's all it takes is a shift of eye contact. I got you. We're on the same page. We will talk later on. We'll have our moments later on, but right now it's all business. And I'm sure you gentlemen have felt that as well. And Kasemsand, what was the vibe like for you? Was it uncomfortable for you and your personality, or were you comfortable in this space?
Basically, like when I only like flip my yeah. So it's just before I go out, I rehype myself, and then just like only like 3 minutes, and then ship back to show.
Could you feel tension? Because I felt tension. Look at that warm-up room is ridiculously small. It felt like, I don't know if it just felt like that to me.
Was small. It was small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It felt exactly like that for me as well. How about you, Penna? In terms of the vibe?
I try to make eye contact with everybody, like to get some sort of vibe. So, yeah, I tried with Jonathan, and like I saw that he was in his zone, and yeah, the only thing I was like, oh, okay, that's so. When you guys celebrated the squad, I was like, so you think it's over now, and it's only getting started. So, I think we sometimes you have to find your own personal reasons and keys to get hyped. You know what I mean? Like when somebody kind of like disrespects me in a way or trash talks me, that fires me up. That's what I said in a podcast. I need my Joe Jordan. Like,
right.
He took it very personally for no reason at all, because what I want somebody to get me out of my comfort zone. And I think it's a positive thing to say about someone. It means that he pushed me that year when that happened. And for whatever reason, he took it the absolute, you need your Joe Jordan, don't worry, etc. And then, yesterday I tried to make eye contact, didn't work out, it's fine. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you could be like all smiles like Kasemsan, or you could be in your zone like Jonathan, or like me, like trying to create some sort of, like clash vibe. And, it's all good as long as we respect each other's like limits, you know what I mean? I like it. I think we're competitors. You're not here in that seat at Worlds on the podium if you don't have that killer instinct, if you don't have that animal inside you. Like Kasemsan, he's all smile, but when he's about to lift a big weight, he switches the flip, like we all do. And that's why on my third attempt, I was like crazy. I don't think I've been that crazy in my life multiple times, maybe a couple of times. And it was for very, very different reasons. So yeah, so it was really cool. And yeah, like I said, looking back at it, it was a very, very intense battle, and on all fields, like on the platform, with the strategy that was at stake in play with our different teams, with our own lifting up to that. Because yeah, like Jonathan said, like maybe seeing the post that people cheered a bit more for me, maybe that, threw him off a bit, and he was like, oh, that's what you guys think, I'm going to destroy your boy. SBD Sheffield post, I was like, oh, okay. Don't worry.
See, athletes have to, just a real quick interject a point, what he said, like on, with like Joe and all that. Iron sharpens iron. So, it's a different feeling to win something when you have to fight for it. Like glory is, for me, that's like when, like the hardest battles yield the highest glory. You know what I mean? So like if you were to come in and just win 9 for 9, hundreds of kilos above everyone else, what's the fun in that? You know what I mean? So for me, I like to roll up my sleeves and let's go to the trenches and let's like hammer this out. So iron sharpens iron. So when I see good athletes come up in the 66s, I'm proud of that. Like I want to see everybody do well. Obviously, we're here to win, and that's the goal. Like you want to win as an athlete, but I mean, competition is only going to make everybody else better, like period. I had to tighten up my deadlift game because I knew Penna and Kasemsand deadlift more than me right off the bat, and I'm sure that somewhere in their training they're like, I've got to get my fucking squat higher because Jonathan is way higher. So when you're looking at that kind of thing, there's motivation there, and like some lifters may see it as a negative way, but I think if you're a real athlete, you're going to have to take that adversity and twist it into some constructive criticism. Like, okay, well, if his squat's XYZ higher, then we need to bump up either the bench or the deadlift. I mean, that's for my motivation. I knew Penna deadlift more than me. I knew Kasemsand did. So in this training, I go with deadlift to kind of bridge that gap to so I think that, lifters shouldn't see it in a negative way if someone comes in you know, it should always be positive, you know, because our weight classes and our sport in general is blowing up. I mean, when I started powerlifting 8 years ago, you know, nothing like this going so fast in popularity and the caliber of athletes. I mean, you look back on this, a 705 would have won the past 10 years, right? Or right? Besides the couple times there was been like a 710. You could have, okay.
And that wasn't even the world championships. No, for sure, you're right.
Yeah, it's not that, oh, you're in the 700s, you're a guaranteed win anymore. That's not that. This weight class has become, you have to almost break the world record. What's the, 710, right?
That's right.
We were all 4 kilos away from breaking the world record. 3
a podium
guys.
of it.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Sixes has come so far. I remember when I first started commentating in powerlifting, nobody was watching the 59s. Nobody was watching the 66s. Essentially, interest started at the 74s.
Mm-hmm. And
that is long gone now, my friends. That is way out the window. It was standing room only when you guys were out there. I'm going to talk about when we left the squats, and I believe Kyoto 3 for 3, massive celebration. Probably didn't bode well with yourself if you don't like celebrations. Joe Jordan, I believe 3 for 3. Obviously, you rebounded and got your third and had reason to feel good about it because you had tasted a little adversity, battled back from it. But Kasemsand, I want to ask you, before we get into the battle on the squats, yeah, there was a lot of talk of these two gentlemen. And yes, SBD showed the results of their poll. Jonathan was a slight favorite over defending world champion Penna. And Penna saying, my goodness, I'm the defending world champion, and here we go again, I'm the underdog. He felt slighted on that post. How did you feel about that? Did that serve as motivation for yourself, or were you okay with it?
Actually, I'm pretty okay with it.
Fair enough. Still all smiles. Trying to ignite a little fire in you, but you're so different than Penna.
Yeah.
Do you hope in the future this corrects some of that? And how do you think you'll feel when I made a post for this particular podcast? I said, who wins if they run it back? Now, keep in mind, all 3 you gentlemen had 707.5. You could make an argument for all 3 you. Body weight separated you. And Kasemsand, you're the favorite. As of now, that make you a stitch uncomfortable now, because if previously you were okay with being in the dark and let these gentlemen take the pressure, won't be the case if you guys clash again in the future. How does that make you feel?
Maybe a bit nervous. Because I'm not really think that much when it comes to competition. It's just like do whatever I want to do. Yeah.
Right now, your name's going to get tossed around a whole heck of a lot more after what just happened yesterday, believe me. Told the cast, leave tonight because the show airs tomorrow and nothing will be the same after that. And I think I'm having that conversation with you right now, sir. After what you guys just did, that was powerlifting history. And 10, 15 years from now, just 8 years ago, we still talk about Hack Gibbs. They're going to be talking about this. I promise you, gentlemen, 10 years from now, they will be talking about this. Kasemsand, how did you feel after the squat event? And were you paying attention to Jonathan? Penna had missed his last squat, only 2.5 kilos, but still had missed it. Kyoto, like a cannonball, shot himself after hitting that third squat, cheered in front of the crowd. There was so much excitement after that squat event. How did you feel?
Actually, like I'm not really focusing on the others because I just like have my just follow Peter. Peter just put whatever, stack the ship, just get me to 6 for 6, and that's it. I will execute my deadlift. Yeah. So yeah, I just like follow the plans. I'm not really looking on the others that much. That's why I don't want to be like stressed. Yeah.
Were you confident, or how?
Yeah. As I said, like squat was like traumatized.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. After squat, I am quite happy.
Okay, because you were smiling a lot on the platform.
Yeah, that's why in bench press I smile a lot because I already done squat.
Hard parts behind you.
Yeah.
Got you. And Penna, you typical of your style, grinded out your second attempt, bumped up just 2.5 kilos for your third. fought, missed, and I mean, anyone who's seen you lift before, you're like Jason Voorhees, you keep coming back from the dead. I don't think anybody's writing you off. But still, some of your adversaries are going 3 for 3, looking like they're in a good position. And some of your supporters, when they're cheering, and then see you fail, and that's the last we see you until the next event. They see you grind and fail. I run into the warm-up room, and I like getting a vibe of the room. I try to, if the athletes are okay with it, have a quick conversation. When I come back, I will relay the information and say, wow, so-and-so looks like this, so-and-so said that. And I seen you, and you were coming, we passed by each other. The first thing you said as soon as we make eye contact, what did you tell me?
I can't remember.
Don't worry.
Oh. I can't
Don't worry.
Okay.
It didn't rattle you any.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts coming out of the squad event on your own performance there?
You know, I've been in a couple of battles. Like last year, Worlds was a battle. Nobody was seeing me win. It was also off of one of my worst years in terms of powerlifting career. So, you know, I'm used to taking hits, having the tougher road. And, you know, obviously, the way I was looking at it was like Jonathan is obviously the squat talent. And also he's a very good bench presser, obviously, but squat talent. Kasemsand, he held the world record deadlift. Also, he should be like the deadlift talent. And I was like, I'm the just don't quit talent. Like, I'm not particularly good on squats or bench or deads, and I just don't quit up until the very end. So no matter how many times I will miss, no matter how hopeless it will seem, I will always show up. And at some point, I did some math in my head. I was like, okay, so Kasemsand is like 7.5 ahead of me. I know I'll outbench him by a good chunk, but so that will even out on deads. And so when I did the math for Jonathan, I was like, oh, okay, I'm only like 12.5. And I did that for a couple of minutes, and then I'm like, oh, wait, no, I'm 22.5. Not 12.
That's a big difference in powerlifting totals. You're like, wow.
So, you know,
I caught you when you thought you were 12 and a half.
Exactly. No, I was like,
And then 2 minutes later at the panic, okay, we're worrying.
I was like, oh, man, no big deal. And then because, you know, I thought Jonathan would be around 275. And if we're like 20 or less, I'm good, like within the little scenario I had run in my head. And then when I saw that we're not like 12.5 but 22.5, and then on bench, I thought I would get the upper hand on bench, and he ended up outbenching me by 2.5. So I was like, oh, okay, so now we're like 20, 25. I didn't have the body weight, so 27.5. But you know, I'm like, that doesn't matter. Like, how many battles have we seen that it comes to the very last deadlift? And we'll probably talk about that in a bit, but you know, even if you think you've done it, up until the moment the ref says down, you haven't done it. Up until the moment you see those lights. So yeah, I know I'm behind on both of them, but I knew I would be ahead of Kasemsan on bench, and I knew that I would be ahead of Jonathan on deadlift. So I was like, you know, we're still in it. It's not done yet.
Yeah, it's not over till it's over.
Yeah.
It's interesting hearing you guys tell the story. That day you all ended up on the same spot, the same lily pad. You just weighed a little different on that lily pad. But Jonathan, in the bench press, walk me through this. You are for sure the subtotal king. Your subtotal is absolutely monstrous and intimidating. And when you're on and you're hitting, you're very difficult to beat. How did the bench press go for you? Was it as per strategy? And did how the other lifters lifted in the bench press event in the squad affect your strategy on game day?
The other lifters really didn't affect the numbers I was going to hit on the squat. I mean, on the bench press, it was my squat performance affected. So we were actually going to go quite a bit lighter. So just kind of follow the same roadmap as U.S. Nationals, kind of just bench what we need to, just kind of keep building up the subtotal, kind of building up the lead. But, you know, with us only just finishing up with, you know, a lot less than what I had in the tank the day for squats, we were like, well, we'll just make it up on the bench, because the bench for prep was the only thing that was going like phenomenal, was the bench. So we knew, you know, we could pull out a little bit more aggressive on the bench. So, yeah, we just kind of kept piddling along. It was a bit of an adjustment, because the Alico pad was a lot different than last year's version. So last year's version was about as hard as a rock, and this one was almost pillow soft.
You mentioned that to me, Penna.
So it was a very night and day difference. And and anyone who does lifting, a bench is a bench. You can say that, but when you're at this level, any little change is quite different. So that last year's the Alico. So that and then we didn't get a chance to train on that in the warm up room. It was just like, okay, lift on max on this brand new bench you've never laid on before, but. Again, as a lifter, you make those adjustments. That comes with, obviously experience and years doing this. But no, I liked it. And it was like, okay, cool. It was very similar to what I bench out at home. So it's kind of even brought me even more into my kind of bench element. So we maybe could have done an extra 5 kilos on the bench. But, we took what was there on the day. What we thought was there on the day and going 3 for 3, just kind of building the momentum, you know what I'm saying? So going 3 for 3, going into deads, any event that you go 3 for 3 and then start something, you're riding that high. So
I had a chance to speak like Gary in between the sessions, or in between the events rather, and I saw him this morning as well. And Matt Gary is like you guys. He takes as serious as that. Matt told me I didn't sleep a wink. He's going through all the different possibilities. He's like, what's that? The Avenger who ran through like a million possibilities, how they're supposed to beat Thanos. Doctor Strange. Thank you. And that was Matt Gary last night. And that's what happens to Matt Gary. He's like, should I have loaded this? Should I have loaded that? And I told Matt, and he's critical of other game day coaches, critical of athletes when they make these decisions. That's how he takes it so seriously, but he's just as critical on himself. And when I tell you I saw him at breakfast, you could tell he was wearing it. He had already gone through every single possible scenario. And I told him, Matt, all of it's 20/20 hindsight. I'm sure all you gentlemen probably have in that day something you would like to have fixed, something you would have liked to have changed. What if we had done this number instead of that? And one of the things was, the bench press. Could we have pushed a little bit more, a few more kilos? And do you feel like that looking back? Like,
yeah, of course. I mean, we left a good bit on. I mean, I haven't finished less than 600 pounds on the squat in maybe my past 4 competitions. I've been well into the 600s on my squats. We just didn't holistically, game day math that we needed it. So we played it conservative and safe, but definitely 100% left way too many kilos on the squat. And then, of course, I believe I had another 5 for sure. 180 went really well in training. That flew up. But again, you've got a whole different atmosphere. You don't know how long the press can man. Sometimes that can be lengthy. So when you're training at home, you control all the variables. And when you're at a competition, you're thrown into variables, and you just have to adapt on the day and by the second.
That's well said. You're not controlling the variables. You're thrown into variables. And, it's easy for people who watch online and then comment, and they start adding these kilos, like you should have done this, you should have done that. There's a reason why when everybody comes to the World Championships, and Penna, you've mentioned this before, throw those, and you've said it as well, throw those numbers out the window. When you're there and look at you gentlemen at this table, how special each of you are. You're gonna feel pressure, because if you do reach and slightly overreach and you miss, you could be way far back, like Kyoto riding a super big high, and he's not at this table, despite how he felt after the squat event. Or Joe Jordan, who went 9 for 9, but could he have possibly loaded up a little bit more? Well, maybe not. What if he started missing? Mm-hmm. There is that pressure that when you come to the IPF World Championships, it's entirely different, knowing 2.5 kilos might break it.
Yeah, but to me, that's where you see if you're a baller or not. You know what I mean? It's like, I get the idea of going 9 for 9, 6 for 6, whatever. I've spoke with Matt Gary about that a couple of times now. And obviously I respect him a lot. He's one of the OGs of the sport, like Mike T, those guys, and those are people I really look up to and respect a lot. But at some point, I think you have to understand that the more deep, the more stacked the divisions are going to be, the better the athletes. the more we'll see those battles take place where, like Yoda on his last pull, if he pulls and he makes it, he's first, right?
Yeah.
And now he's not on the podium. And like, if I hold my grip on my last deadlift, I'm first, and then maybe Kasemsand does this, and if same with Jonathan. So what I mean is, wins to me is a like fairy tale. Like that's not possible. Otherwise, we wouldn't have bets in sports. Why do we have bets? It's because you have like odds, but then you don't know for sure. So in my head, wanting to be sure 100% this happens that way is it's not going to work anymore. Like unless you're, like Jonathan said at first, like 50 kilos ahead of everybody, then yeah, he's going to go 9 for 9 and he knows exactly what he needs. Played it a bit more aggressively, then maybe he would have failed or he would have made it. And you know, there's no way, you don't know the outcome. And that's what's the beauty of the sport. Like if when you wake up before showing up, I go and say, hey, you're going to be world champ today. That doesn't have any taste, any savor, you know? That's why we have to show up, all of us at the same day, the same time. We do our lifts and whoever wins, wins. And that's it. And that's why we can run it back 10 times, and I think we'll get probably 10 different results and outcomes. Now, maybe it will be the same podium with different numbers, maybe a different podium with different numbers, you know, you never know. That's why I like the idea of going 6 for 6, 9 for 9, whatever, but man, it's not anymore. Like, we're ballers now. All of us, in all of the weight classes. Like, Tiff won, and she didn't go 9 for 9. Jess was close, she didn't go 9 for 9. Like, Jonathan didn't go 9 for 9. I didn't. Maybe you did?
I never.
Ah, never.
Never in your life.
I never.
So you know what I mean? Like when I won Worlds in 2023, I didn't go 9 for 9 either. So yeah, you have those weight classes with the Russell Oris, with the Leah Bavoil, with those athletes that can win going 9 for 9 because they have room left in the tank. And when you know you have 10 kilos more, obviously you're going to go 9 for 9. Like most of the reasons why I don't go 9 for 9 is because I'm always in a fight. And in a fight, I'd much rather go 6 for 9 and miss and be like, I gave it my best, I tried it, rather than go 9 for 9 and be like, oh, I think I had 10 more this, 10 more of that, and then I would have won. Yeah, but
Yeah.
load it. Load it and you see.
I'd rather load it and miss that shit
Yeah.
than just
Yeah.
wish and hope, oh, I shoulda. You know, and Penna makes a good point. This is every single one of these guys at this table, and even in the warm room, we're warriors, we're fighters. You know, we have to go Hail Mary sometimes. So you have to, you know, that's a good mindset to have. Load that shit up. And if I miss it, I miss it. But if I get it, I get it. So that's a good point to make.
And at least you answered that question. You don't go home saying, my God, that was my day. You can't go back.
Yeah.
You loaded up and you saw. And one point you said, if we do this 10 times over, we keep getting the same result. Gentlemen, if you guys can't break this, eventually, if you all times in a row, then we're going to keep running it back every single year.
At that point, we will be fighters. Eh? You guys scrap it out.
Yeah, that's right.
In this room.
We're introducing the strict curl event to break the tie because this is enough is enough. Kasemsand, how about yourself in terms of your strategy? You're hearing how these gentlemen approach and how they feel comfortable strategizing on the day of or maybe leading into the meet. How about you and who is handling you? Is it friends, personal coaches?
Peter, Coach Peter from RTS.
That's right. And who is your is it Mike T?
Yeah, my team.
Okay.
My coach.
Legend.
Yeah.
Legend. He actually has ties to Penna.
Yeah.
Penna,
Shout out to Mike T.
Penna got his coaching start doing online classes of Mike T's, taking that, bringing it back to France. And this is before France had that big boom, that big wave. And Penna found Leah Bavois, Noemi Alibert, and himself. And then, the rest is history. But how is your game day strategy?
Actually, I just live whatever Peter need me to live. So yeah, I just told Peter that okay, I will go to live, and you just keep the number whatever you want.
Yeah. Do you have meetings ahead of time talking about possible A, B, and C scenarios?
Yeah. Mike and Peter already talked, and I just follow.
Did your scenario that day fall under A, B, or C?
B.
Oh.
Yeah, B.
So you were hoping and anticipating for a bigger total.
Yeah.
And let me shift that question to all you gentlemen. I bet you if I know powerlifters, you're all gonna say you were hoping to get. I had 750 on me on a good day, but that's what makes you guys who you are. Jonathan, how about yourself? Was this an A, B, C day the way it turned out?
I think it was probably C. Just C. Just, again, my strategy was to lift based on what these guys were doing to just make sure, build up the subtotal leading into the deadlift so I wouldn't have to deadlift anything crazy. So because in retrospective, if you look at me versus all the other 66s, I mean, their strategy undoubtedly has to be the complete opposite of mine. Okay, we know we're going to give ground on squat and on bench. Like, it is what it is, right? It's just facts, right? So our strategy was to push, and then make him load up more than they felt comfortable doing. Same thing like at Nationals with Charlie. He had to throw on something he's never done before.
Right.
And so that's kind of the strategy, push, because, I am lacking a little bit on the deadlift. It's getting better. Needs improvement, but that's, undoubtedly the strategy there. But, it all came down, for each and every one of us, it came down to the last deadlift. Yeah. The last deadlift, if either one of us last deadlift had gone differently, it would have been a different winner. Like, that's right, just period. So, that's what you get at Worlds, the best of the best. I woke up, went to bed last night, really disappointed, obviously, just feeling whatever. But, when I woke up this morning and, just kind of sitting by the window and you kind of reflecting and say, this isn't like a local meet. This isn't a national meet. This isn't, you have to be proud about that, regardless of the outcome. Obviously, we come here to win, we train to win. But sometimes that doesn't happen. But for me, like I was telling my daughter last night when she called me, I said, she's like, I'm proud of you, Dad. I said, how you feeling? I said, I feel good, honey. I'm happy with what I was able to do, and I know I'm going to bed knowing that I did the best that I had on that day, and I gave my 100%. So if I know in my heart that that's what I had on the day, and I fought for it, then I can kind of walk away from that proud. You know what I mean? There's no shame in that.
100%. And you, over the years, where your deadlift has become a more reliable weapon. And by the time deadlifts roll around, you're making people answer a much bigger question. Your subtotal's grown. Your deadlift has become a more reliable weapon. Back in the day, it used to come out of your hands. Now you're hitting.
Yeah.
Now you're hitting, and now you're seeing what happens to your total and forcing people to load up uncomfortable weight. And, you've blossomed. There's more in there. Let's talk about the deadlift session, and then we'll talk about, I love that you talked a little bit about afterwards, but I want to dive a little deeper, your guys' emotions immediately afterwards and how you feel about it today, and then we'll talk about the future. But first, the deadlifts. So obviously, Jonathan, you were going first as usual. Did the deadlifts roll out as per planned, and how difficult is it while you can rejoice in the squats and the bench press and you feel big and strong, and you do a phenomenal job, and I love seeing all of you guys showing that emotion and heart on the platform. But how difficult is it? First off, tell me about how you felt about your deadlifts, and then to have to sit back and watch whether or not they could take it from you. And some of them attempted, like Kyoto, and missed. Others, your total was just too scary, so they opted for another pull, like Joe Jordan, and others like Penna are going to load up, and we all know Penna's going to go out on a shield. Kasemsand did what he did. Tell me about the deadlifts, both yourself and watching the others.
With deadlifts, this meet prep, just shortly after Nationals, I got a tear in my abductor. So it took me out a little bit. Nationals 12 weeks ago. It's a quick turnaround time. So, we actually couldn't deadlift for about 3 weeks there. So I knew the deadlift was going to be a tough call. I had pulled well into the sixes leading into national prep. So we knew, it was full transparency with my team on the injury and said, look, we may not have that big deadlift to pull out, the hidden ace if we need it. First deadlift went okay. Just think it just went up too fast. It rocked me. I said, look, I spoke to Matt and Ari, and I said, look, let's just keep on with the plan. That was just a technical error. We're good. We got this. Second one went great. And then, obviously, not that I felt comfortable, But looking at the board, okay, now we're in the game. Because, I mean, our strategy was we knew who was going to win Worlds by my second deadlift. I knew where I was going to be based on everyone else's, like, oh, this guy's going to have to pull, 20 kilos more than he's ever pulled before. That's a big ask on the day. So yeah, we just proceeded with the normal plan. Of course, I missed that last deadlift, for whatever reason. And so we were still technically in the lead because after Penna does his second, he ties with me. And I think I had him on body weight at that time. So it's like, okay, let's see what Kasemsand does. It was a little jarring. I hadn't missed a deadlift in quite a while. So it was a little jarring to miss that deadlift, knowing that it was a world championship deadlift in my hand. If I had got it, I would have won, that kind of thing. So just sitting back there was tough because, I didn't want to be anywhere around anybody. Very disappointed on that last deadlift was going to the payout on that check. So I sat backstage and I just stared at a wall, just kind of just being in my head. I knew what was riding on the day. I don't ever want to win because someone else failed. Like, I want to win because I'm the best. I don't want to win because someone else had a shitty day. Yeah, I just sat alone. All kinds of emotions going on, like ifs, coulda, woulda, shouldas, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I mean, things happen and we just have to overcome and adapt.
You also brought up, in terms of missing and going up in weight regardless, even if you don't have an opener, and sometimes it would be a huge no-no. And even Matt Gary himself says, ordinarily, that wouldn't be a conversation you would say, no, we're going to solidify yourself in terms of still being in the game, having a total, retaking the weight. But the situation changes when you realize it's a world title on the line and I can't fall back. I have to hold serve.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like when we missed that first deadlift, I went back there and said, we're not taking that again. Obviously, we're gonna, it's technical error, whatever the case may be. We're gonna move up. And the same thing with the second squat. It was a jump the squat command, whatever. We knew it wasn't a strength thing. The strength was there. We're just gonna move forward, which is brave, But again, you go for it. We're here. It's Worlds. This happens once a year. We train countless hours for this. We're not here to, mess around. We're here to win. So, we're going all full charge.
Was it a conversation that you had to convince anybody, though?
No, not at all. No,
they were all on the
same
page.
They were on the same page. Yeah. We were there to win. Team USA was there to win. We had the tools to win, and we were like, let's get it. So,
how about you? Always a grind? So obviously you started off with 270, jumped up to 285, and then already had a pretty handsome total, 705, which won the World Championships the year before for you, and you needed 2.5 more kilos. You're at 707.5, sorry, and that's more than won the World Championships last year, and you need 2.5 more kilos because you're the heavier lifter. And then I thought Team France, by the way, did a good job with you, trying to get every single bit out of you. It's easy to do again, 2020 hindsight. Wow, what if we did this? What if we did that? Sure. But how do you feel about, first off, the 15-kilo jump to the second, the grind on the second, but we know you can grind more. The third, missing the third, where you're like, oh my God, it's all over, or because Kasemsand still had yet to lift?
So, like Jonathan said, he tore his adductor like 9 weeks out, 10 weeks out. I injured my back 3 weeks out. We all come here on our shields, or you don't show up. And so on this prep, squat was okay-ish. I have squatted in the past 3 weeks 240, which is like close, a bit under what I did, but close to what I did. But deadlifts weren't going. Like Tuesday, I missed 270. I showed you the video. And so, honestly, on that day, I was like, I'm either going to pull 280, and that will be very, very hard, or for whatever reason, my strength is still there, and I'm pulling 290. Because in training, deadlifts were going very, very well prior to that little back injury. Like, I was doing triples with 280. I was doing like very, very strong sets. So my deadlift was up there. Like I did 290 at Sheffield. And on that day, I didn't feel as good as I felt yesterday. So that threw me off a bit when I took 270 as the opener. That was the first 270 in 3 weeks that I locked out and I was able to complete. And I was like, you know, I'm against this guy, I'm against this guy. There's Kyoto in the mix. I cannot do like 270, 280 and whatever. So I had to take an aggressive jump like I usually do, and it usually goes well. And when I pulled that 285, sorry, I was like, that was rough, but I know I still have one left. Probably not above 290, but I thought I could do around 290 at that moment. And so when we saw that Jonathan missed, we knew that I needed 2.5 more, and I was like, easy money. So I went to pulling it. I'm like, okay, that's good. And then right at the lockout, it just gets off of my hands. I was afraid my grip would be affected a bit by not being able to pull heavy for the past 3 weeks. It has affected my grip. But once again, like you can always tweak things around. You can always make the scenario, oh, if Worlds was in 2 weeks from now, this, that. No, man, you have to be ready when you have to be ready. And that's what I had in me on that day. So yeah, pretty much the same as Jonathan when I realized so that I missed it and I wasn't world champ. Yeah, that was rough. I stayed laying down for like 10 minutes, and honestly, I didn't care what happened afterwards because for me, either I'm finishing 5th or 4th or 3rd or I don't care. I wanted to win, so. I didn't even see that actually Kasemsand won. And then when I
For
saw
all you
him,
know, Jonathan was still winning.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And then when I saw him like go crazy, I was like, oh, okay, he probably won. So I'll be honest, I can't be really disappointed in myself because knowing that it's 17.5 above what I wasn't able to lift for 3 weeks, I cannot be unhappy. That would be very. You know, we train for a reason. If you can retain strength for 3 weeks without training a lift, then why would we train? Would we push ourselves that much? Why would we do so much volume, so much work? There would be no reason. You know what I mean? So, but in my head, I was like, yeah, it's going to be a fairy tale. Like I'm going to pull tomorrow, and I'm going. That opener was hard. That second was hard, but I was like, I know I can do 287. I know that my strength is still there for that number, and if that number is enough to win, then so be it. And yeah, it's like wasn't able to lock it out because of grip, which is like something that happened to me once or twice in my life, so not very often, and happened at the worst time.
When you look at the footage, Americans off into the side, I think it was on the left side, and all of them cheering for you, and then the French. You've seen some of the footage. Obviously, your wife is out there, but Leah, who should be back at the hotel room getting ready for her own battle, in the audience and was emotional, tears welling up when you came out for that final pull. She had her face covered like she was watching you fight off a bear.
Yeah.
It looked tense. And she looked heartbroken in the moment. And I remember doubling back and seeing Leah. And I'm like, oh, my God, that was amazing because it was amazing. And Leah, I kid you not, punched me. and took off. And I'm like, I'm not saying it's amazing. Penna didn't win. I'm saying, my God, we have a moment. But when you look at these videos and you look at the support, and I'm going to get your last poll in a moment, how does it feel to have so much support behind you, regardless? Just letting them see how much you're going to give.
You know, it's so my mom was there also. It was the first time she was seeing me compete internationally. So you know, it's like I said, we all have different way we lift. And yesterday when I failed that last pull and I saw like their eyes, I was like, I didn't win today, but I think I'm winning in life because I'm surrounded by people that care about me, that love me, and I love them back. And so yeah, the support I got yesterday was insane. Like my dad was so happy, so proud, and you know, I teared in his arms. I was like, you know, I'm sorry. I wanted to offer you that present for Father's Day. And you know, he went like, I don't want to see you cry after such a battle. Like you fought until the very end, and you know, at the end of the day, I have so many meets ahead of me where I have so many chances to improve. But yesterday was special. Yesterday was a moment we all lived with our family, with our close ones, and yeah, being able to get that atmosphere, that energy, that was insane. So that's why I let it go at the end. It was that's it. You know, Worlds 24 is done. I hung up until the very last moment. Like I said, I wanted to pull out so many times, and I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't. And yesterday I just let it all out on the platform. But yeah, I was like, when I saw my parents, when I saw my mom, when I saw my dad, my brother, my wife, my friends, I was like, yeah, I didn't win today, but I'm pretty happy where I'm at in my life, and I'll have another shot at it next year.
Oh, we'll talk about that in a second. My God, that's exciting. But Kasemsand, so at this point in time, Jonathan still has the lead. Penna swung on that last deadlift, narrowly missed, and then it's your turn. What are your thoughts going out for that last deadlift? What are your thoughts when you hit? Obviously, we all saw the huge celebration we seen the last pull. But walk us through that final deadlift and how you felt knowing, oh my gosh, I'm back to the promise I showed everybody in 2022, and I fulfilled my potential.
Yeah, I'm quite confident, but like, to be honest, I just let Peter pick the number, and then like, actually I would like to break my deadlift record back, and then okay, I have to put this, good, just go. But I'm not quite confident with my finger because it slipped for the first attempt, and then second attempt is almost like I almost lost my grip. Yeah.
Did you think, what were your thoughts walking out there? Did you know, they must have told you this is for the world championship. At that point in time, did you know that Penna had missed, Jonathan had missed, but had the lead, and you were pulling for the world title? Did they tell you that?
Actually, I didn't know because I just like, okay, I have to lift this, and then Peter just told me that if you can lift this, you can win. Okay, I just go.
And at what point did you realize, oh my God, I'm the world champion?
Yeah, when it come off the floor.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can see my smile. Like,
Yeah, you were it. And what were you thinking as you look back on the battle like that and knowing that you just won?
like, yeah, it's like trauma. Yes, every world championship is like, I'm like only go like 4, maybe like 3 or 4 of 9. Yeah, it's like, it's tough for me. Yeah, you can ask my girlfriend. I cry every time.
Oh. Did you cry this time, tears of joy?
This time I'm not.
No,
crying.
okay,
But
well, that's
actually,
good.
I cry before the competition
Really?
because I scare because it's actually when I lift my first attempt deadlift, like the picture that I felt my grip when I come up like this, and then it's just boom. I was like, oh no, yeah.
It's happening again.
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you cried leading into the competition the morning of?
Like the day before.
Oh, wow. So you're not kidding when you say it was traumatic.
Yeah.
You actually mean this. Like, this was a demon that was haunting you for these last 2 years.
Yeah.
And is that demon to rest now?
Getting better.
Still scared. That's right. Well, you got a couple demons at this table chasing you right now. Yeah, the race isn't over, I guess, right? Jonathan, you briefly touched on, but let's jump in. So the day of, obviously, you're disappointed, but how do you feel now reflecting on, you've had a day and maybe you'll feel differently in a week's time, but reflecting on the battle that was, the moment that was, the placement in history it's probably going to hold, and the possibilities for the future, how do you feel all about it now?
You know, I gave my all on every single lift, and as a fighter and as a lifter with as much experience as I have, I mean, I've been here before. I've felt this kind of pain before, you know. I can smile and say, oh, it feels great, it feels wonderful, but it sucks. You know what I mean? Because that's, you know, we put in hours and we train really hard to win. So when that doesn't add up in your favor, you know, it can be disheartening. But, you know, I've learned to just kind of focus on the good on life. You know what I'm saying? Life has knocked me down a bunch of times, and it's really not, life is going to knock all of us on our asses, but really the true testament of a man and as a person is how do you get up from that? Every year I've improved. I've gotten better and better and better. This is just one more knockdown, and I'm just going to have to stand back up.
And Penna, day in between you and the World Championship now, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, that's rough. Like I said, I wanted to win. I had good reasons to. I trained for it. I went through a lot of very, very tough weeks and days with like not knowing what the next day would be like for me in terms of would I be able to train, not train, like can I compete at Worlds? Like Tuesday, I didn't, like I almost, when I saw my deadlift wasn't going Tuesday, I almost said, that was tough. And I was thinking really that all of those tough and rough moments would make sense after Worlds, opposed to making it happen and missing on the technicality as stupid as a grip. That hurts. Obviously that hurts. But like Jonathan said, like, with my path so far, it never has been a straight path for me. It never has been an alley with roses and flowers. It's always been like a way through hell. And I think I found my groove walking in those lanes. And I know how to walk in those lanes now. So yeah, I'm proud because I could have quit 20 times. I showed up yesterday. I gave it my absolute best. I have zero regrets about anything that happened yesterday. Whatever happened on squats, I'm happy with. Same with bench, same with deads. I would run it back again if I had to. And now I'm like more fueled to help me go through those coming training sessions. Obviously, last year I did 7 meets as a 66 with 7 weight cuts, and it takes a toll on you. So I would like to rest up a bit, and then, obviously I have a lot of ideas and reasons to get back to training to become stronger. And I think this year's Worlds doesn't reflect how strong I feel I am. So then it's about time to really show it next year.
I know for both of you, you were telling yourselves, like, I have to win, and losing is not an option. And you lost, and you wake up today and realize the sun still is shining, your supporters are still behind you, and your future's still in front of you.
Yeah.
And you realize, okay, it all is not lost.
Yeah, 100%.
All is not lost. And we'll get to the future in a moment. But first, Kasemsand, you woke up today as the new 66 kilo world champion. How did that feel? Did people from back home reach out to you? And how was that? How's it feel to wake up in this position?
Actually, I couldn't sleep last night.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, just like I still can't believe that this moment happened because it keep hunting me for 2 years. Like, yeah, it's just weird sensation.
Did you have people from back home reach out to you, friends, family?
Yeah, a lot of people from my home, like from my country. Yeah, they cheering for me. Like even it was like finished at 4 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And they were watching live on the
they're
stream?
still watching. Yeah, that's a great thing that never happened in my life.
And how does that feel to be able to call home and be like, yeah, I did it?
Yeah, it's like incredible.
And looking forward to the future, gentlemen, because I'm going to speak for myself right now. I got to see it again. I got to see it again. Obviously, Kasemsand is the current world champion, and, all you guys have your placement in history, from world championships, unofficial world records, official world records, etc. However, I said on the stream, this was a showdown and a battle that leads to the words, "to be continued." If this is a series of movies, the first movie just ended. between you and myself. We want to see this sequel. We'll throw it to Jonathan first because you opened this hinting at a possible retirement, and I hope we talked you out of that in this however long we've been talking. I know you made some promises, Jonathan, but are you going to stick around, see this through? Will we see a sequel?
That depends if SBD wants us again at Sheffield, I guess.
Please,
That's up to SBD.
Let's put a poll up.
That's 100% up to SBD to see if they want to put us all three on the platform again at Sheffield.
Can you imagine? I can only, in terms of, I mean, we're not deep into the World Championships, but high bar for any other session to beat what you guys put up. And it makes a whole lot of sense, doesn't it? I don't think anybody's going to want to miss a return. How do you guys feel about it?
Yeah. I would love to share the platform with these two again. Yesterday we also had our qualifier for World Games.
Yeah.
So whatever happens, we know we're going to clash there again next year. But yeah, either way, I'll be honest. No matter the platform, I'm always ready for a fight. That's why I compete. Otherwise, I wouldn't compete. I would just lift weights because I would never stop lifting weights. But I would not compete. I compete because I want to go. So whether it's Sheffield, whether it's next Worlds, whether it's World Games, I'm ready to run it back.
Kasemsand, SBD's already announced you will be going to Sheffield, for sure. Who would you like to bring with you? If
It would be great.
So you were retiring in 2025.
Yeah.
Sorry.
My God,
What?
he's retiring in 2025.
No,
next year.
no.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what you
Joking,
said. I was like, wow, what an announcement, my friend. You just became world champ. That's really loading up SBD to get this done. Eh? Push all your chips to the middle on SBD. Penna does make a good point. All right. We all hope this happens at Sheffield, and I think they make this happen at Sheffield. The entire powerlifting community is going to tune in. But let's say it doesn't for the sake of. We do know World Games, that is officially, you guys have been invited there. Absolute mega multi-event tournament, multi-sport tournament, massive opening ceremonies, closing ceremonies. Talk to some of the organizers. They're anticipating roughly 15,000 people to be attending some of these events for the powerlifting events. Jonathan, would that entice you where you could close the book on this chapter of your life at World Games?
I don't know. I can't answer that question right now, honestly. Right now where my headspace is at, prep wasn't as great for leading into this competition as it was for nationals. And then go back to the drawing board, kind of deconstruct and just kind of decompress, and just enjoy being a dad for right now. Take a break. I feel like I've been in meat prep for the past 6 months. So it's just going to be nice to just take a few weeks off, maybe a month off, and just kind of roadmap everything and see, I'm definitely not saying I'm not going to the World Games, but I just can't tell you for certain right now.
That's fair enough. I think your DMs are going to be popping with people saying, please, not yet. It's so good. And gentlemen, honestly, coming into this, we haven't done this before, and I wanted to walk through the days, and you guys are doing phenomenal right there. Can you imagine if we return to this in like 10 years' time and revisit this conversation? But we'll see. We'll put a pin in that. But is there anything you guys want to say, now that I do have you here, before we close out? To either anybody watching or anybody back home?
So I'll just say, I appreciate all my friends and family who've been super supportive. Obviously my girl Jessica and my daughter and my son. Why I do everything I do for. Why I work as hard as I do at work, and why I train as hard as I do in the gym is. It's really all for them. When powerlifting is a very singular sport. When you're on that platform, you're kind of naked to the world. There's nothing to hide behind. There's no one to hide behind. But like I always say, like my wife is like there with me in my heart, and so are my kids, and so they're with me, always here. So just a big shout out to them for always being super supportive. I mean, I have an absolutely phenomenal woman standing behind me that allows me to train. I mean, obviously we just had a baby boy, and my training has not skipped a beat. She's been there, doing the damn thing and allowing me to still, do what I need to do in the capacity I need to do it at, unencumbered and unhindered. And so big, massive shout out to her. And, I feel like I let her down a little bit, but, we're going to go back to the drawing board and see what we decide together as a family. But I do love you, babe, and I appreciate you, everything you do for me. I really do.
I got a feeling you didn't let her down, and I'm going to tell you, if you don't ever lift again, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been in powerlifting since 2008, commentating since 2016. I will never forget you.
I appreciate that, man.
And I will never forget when you came on the podcast, some of the things you opened up about your past, your backstory, your upbringing,
For sure.
and everything you've been through. I'll never forget those conversations. And I appreciate your honesty and everything you brought in terms of all those open discussions and the battles you brought to the platform. And I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Penna, anything you want to say in closing?
Yeah, so I just want to say thanks to everybody that just watch, like us, me personally also. Like yesterday, I saw some of the live stream back, and I saw how many French flags there were on the chat. So yeah, I feel blessed to have people behind me, supporting me. And, win or lose, obviously it matters. I won't say it doesn't matter, but I said deep down what matters is today I showed some good fighting spirit, and I hope I didn't let anyone down yesterday. And I fought up until the very end, and that's definitely not how the story is going to end. I plan on realizing my initial goal, which is once I'm retired from powerlifting, nobody will be able to deny that I will be the 66 in recent history. So that's the ultimate goal. The road is obviously still long ahead, but I'm a passion guy. That's why I grind 10 seconds on my lifts, because no matter how much time it takes, it's going to be done. So thank you to everybody that tuned in. Thank you to you guys for yesterday. That was a crazy battle. And we'll run it back either at Sheffield or Worlds or World Games. And that's what powerlifting is about. It's like, how much do you think you can do? Okay, do a bit more, do a bit better. And I just saw what I need to do better. So be back to the drawing board, back to training, and getting ready for what's next.
I have said this story so many times, but I still remember the first time I met you. It was 2019 Worlds, and you stopped me in the hallway, and you said, "You don't know me yet. You don't know these two ladies I'm with yet, but you will." And it was Leah Babwa to your left and Noemi Alibert to your right. And since then, my friend, holy smokes, everything you've done to help popularize powerlifting in France can't be denied. Europe, in just period, the 66 kilo class, all of the moments you've been a part of and helped given us, the way you talk about powerlifting gets me fired up. The way you say, this is the way I express myself like an artist. Yeah. And you say, like some people paint, some people play the guitar. I go out there and I grind. Yeah. And I don't play safe. I load up. I'm a hopeless romantic. And if you want me to play safe, I'm not going to express myself the way I want to express myself. Yeah, 100%. And you've left foot, even if, I've told you this before, even if it all ended today for you, you've left your footprints on the game. And you will be remembered. Kasemsand, I'll open it up to you for the last word, sir.
It's an honor for me to share my passion with all the athletes and all the powerlifting community. Actually, like powerlifting for me is like actually, it's actually everything for me for now. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for everyone who like this sport, who love this sport, and would like to grow this sport.
Thank you, sir. And thank you all, gentlemen, and thank everybody who tuned in and is watching. This is the first one. So come back. We're going to have a bunch of other episodes from Jesus Oliveras and Russell Orhe, Austin Perkins, the 93s, the 76s, as many people as we could drag into this room. And hopefully do this year and all the years to come. And this is another one of the new firsts. So signing off, Six Pack Lapidat.